Bringing stats like a kingpin. MMA knowledge, nieces, nephews all lean in. Breaking down fights, codes that daddy supreme. On just a tip show, he's cooking up a dream. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Wanna know the numbers? Weezy got them cataloged. From the fighters reach down to how many times they dog. Just a tip living, breaking it down slick. Hit you with the knowledge, won't miss a single trick. Uncle Weezy, he the man. Dropping fight facts, got it all on hand. He the stat attack grand. MMA guru, more than just a fan. Balls, deep predictions, he be making those calls. Getting in the details, opponents feeling small. From jazz to takedowns, got the whole fight ID. Uncle Weezy spitting truth, no lie, keep it G. Blow the horn, blow the horn. Stat Daddy Weezy not showing no scorn. Fight Night Kingdom, he wearing the crown. Break it down for the peeps, never looking like a clown.
Oh, yes. What's going on, everybody? It's Friday afternoon, and you see I got the smoking jacket on. It's a pay-per-view. It's UFC 321. We got finally the heavyweight championship of the world happening this Saturday. Abu Dhabi, United Arab Emirates. Tom Aspinall, Cyril Gane. It's going to be a great fight. And there's a couple of different ways that one can go. I'm looking forward to breaking down that fight for you guys. We also have the Women's Strawweight Championship of the world. After Weili Zhang has vacated the title and moved up to 125 pounds, we have got Virna Jandiroba going up against Mackenzie Dern. It is a rematch of a fight that happened back in the COVID area of 2020. And it's going to be a good strawweight championship bout. We got some good pay-per-view fights here with Umar Nurmagomedov and Mario Batista, Alexander Volkov versus Jailton Almeida, Alexander Rakic versus Azamat Murzakanov. And then when you go down the list, even below that for the prelims, we got some really good fights. So I'm looking forward to breaking it down with you guys. I'm going to do a quick full card breakdown. I'm going to give you my favorite dog pick of the week. I'm going to give you Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And then I'm going to give you a Greasy 4-leg parlay that's got a little meat on the bone. And then you can start typing in your questions if you have them for me right now. Let me know what you're thinking. Let me know what you're thinking of parlaying. Let me know what your locks are for this week. And we could try to figure out ways to stack cashed tickets like flapjacks together. And there is a 50% off link to my Odd Shopper probability stats and content package this week. If you click that link that's in the description of the video, it's going to give you access to everything that I do here on my end weekly, which allows you to cheat off of me and use my statistics models here, my individual fighter stats, my matchup stats, my over-under betting models, my prop betting models. If you want access to all my tracked bets this week, which I think I might be up to something like 13 or 14 units in track bets this week. I've got a lot of action. I gave out a couple of them for free on oddshopper.com. You can always look at my X profile and check the link to the expert picks page on Tails, where you can get access to free picks across a number of different sports on OddsShopper. And yeah, if you want to get access to all this work that I do every single week, which includes about 4 hours of content that you don't see for free on YouTube. If you want to get access to this stat sheet, if you want to get access to my Discord where we talk fights, if you want to get access to all my tracked bets, all the betting models, all that stuff, click the link in the description of the video. You'll get it for $12.50 for your first month's membership rather than $25 a month. And it's going to make you have access to a lot more information than you thought possible every week. So come along with me, join your Uncle Weezy on this journey of stacking cash tickets like flapjacks together. And let's talk about these fights today, because we've got 13 fights to break down. We lost Al-Sawadi versus Camilo. Poor Abdul Karim Al-Sawadi. The guy hasn't fought in a year and 7 months. He was scheduled to fight 2 different opponents in February in Abu Dhabi, or I think it might have been in Saudi Arabia last time. Either way, in the Middle East, both opponents dropped out, so he didn't get that fight. Then he waits another 6 months, or actually another 8 months to get this fight, and now that fight breaks out. So now I don't know when we're going to see him next, but we're down to 13 fights right now. And let's just get right into it here. We got Jacqueline Amarim going up against Mizuki. So the key stat here for this fight is that Mizuki has had 1 fight in the last 5 years. It's been about a little over 2 years since she last fought Hannah Goldie. And before she fought Hannah Goldie, she had taken a couple of years off to rehab. I think she's had 4 knee surgeries, and she's had both knees reconstructed on multiple occasions. So this is somebody who turned pro at 16 years of age, has fought as a professional mixed martial artist for 15 years, but the body has failed her. Her knees are shot. She's never had good takedown defense. And I think that this is about as big of a smash spot for Jackie Amarim as you could possibly get at this point in your career. Somebody with no takedown defense and no get-up game against a elite Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu world champion with a black belt. I think Jacqueline Amarim is going to probably just dominate all of the grappling exchanges in this fight. I think she should be able to easily get takedowns whenever she wants them. And once she does, I think she's going to win rounds with top control, ground and pound, and potential submission attempts. I could easily see her getting a submission here, but because Mizuki's never been finished as a professional, and because I do see easily Jacqueline getting takedowns and getting to and being able to stay on top, I think the most likely path is actually a decision. So I see a little bit more value just in terms of the numbers on the overs for this fight. But I think that Jacqueline Amarim at -450, -500 is fine for a parlay piece this week. I don't know how she fucks this spot up. So I think she's going to win this one, win it easily. Could be a ground and pound KO, could be a submission, could be a decision. But I think Jackie just kind of easily makes this one look easy. I mean, I think she's just going to run through Mizuki here. The next fight that we're going to talk about is Azat Maksum versus Mitch Raposo. This line's moved quite a bit since I did Balls Deep breakdowns on Wednesday night when Azat was around a -415 favorite. I think now we've got Azat sitting around -500 on BetOnline Sportsbook. So obviously the Parlay boys have kind of gotten in there and moved that line. I'm picking Maksum by decision, but I think that a submission is very likely because we've seen Mitch Raposo get taken down and easily submitted on the mat by Jake Hadley. And most of his fights at the UFC level have been, either just taking place at distance striking range or he's the one that's initiating the offensive wrestling exchanges. Maksum could potentially get takedowns here. I think that he's probably the better minute and moment winner at distance striking range. I believe he's the better offensive and defensive wrestler. And I think he's got better wins as a professional. So I think that Azat should get the job done here. But Mitch, I could see a decision and I could see a submission as well. So I'm not really very confident about the about how Azat gets it done. But the thing is that Azat Maksum to win by decision is +100, and Azat Maksum to win by submission is +410. So I took a shot on that Azat by submission prop at +410. Tried to get that for about a half unit. So a small play there. I think if he does get to a dominant position here, a submission is going to be on the table against a guy like Raposo, who we've seen submitted before and who doesn't really have any UFC level wins on his resume. So I do think a finish is possible on the Maksum side, even though I'm picking an Azat Maksum decision. The next fight, Hamdi Abdelwahab versus Fat Barnett. We got Hamdi. I mean, he's approaching probably a -500 favorite here. We got Huggy Bear Chris Barnett, otherwise known as Fat Barnett. He is a big underdog here at +300 or more. Yeah, I mean, Hamdi should get the job done here. Chris is undersized for a heavyweight. He's morbidly obese, and he doesn't really have any kind of a grappling game. So I think that Hamdi could potentially get takedowns if he wants them here, but I also think he could land the bigger shots on the feet, get a knockout. I think it could be a ground and pound knockout. I think it could be a standing knockout, but we just saw Chris Barnett, tear up his own knee by trying to throw a spinning fat kick in his last fight against Kennedy Nzechukwu. So I just think the body's failing him. He's 39 years old. You know, he's not physical for a heavyweight. He's just kind of obese. So pretty athletic for a fat guy. And there's no way that I would ever parlay Abdel Wahab. I would never count on him to finish a UFC level opponent because I don't think either of these guys are UFC level fighters. But it's the heavyweight division, and the heavyweight division is the worst division in all of sports in terms of athletic ability and just, you know, skill set. You know, like the lighter you go, the more of a well-rounded skill set you have to be able to compete. You know, at heavyweight, you can be good at one thing, suck at everything else, and control the pace and location of the fight and fight to your strength and find wins against a number of different opponents in this division. So definitely the biggest 1-800 gambler fight on this card, in my opinion. And I think Abdel Wahab should win, but my money's going nowhere near this fight. I don't think yours should either. But I get people that are taking a shot on Hamdi inside the distance, Hamdi KO and under. But I won't be joining you. The next fight is going to be Nathaniel Wood versus Jose Delgado. We had Delgado miss weight by 1 pound. Excuse me. And I think it's important to note that Jose's never fought outside the country before. So he's making the long trip to Abu Dhabi. He's already a massive featherweight. So he's cutting weight on the plane. He missed weight by 1 pound. So now he's going to have to give up some of his purse. And he is somebody that doesn't really have what we would call a UFC-defined minute-winning skill set yet. This guy is an explosive moment winner. His step-in knees are nasty. He's got power in both hands, and he's tall and long for the division, so some of the submissions that he attempts are very dangerous. I mean, he doesn't get all of them, but he does have an aggressive Brazilian jiu-jitsu game that allows him to be able to look for submissions if he does get taken down and put in bad spots. I don't really know who's going to win this fight. I'm leaning to the Delgado side because I feel like Wood is going to have to fight a perfect fight here. Because if he makes one mistake and Delgado lands one giant step-in knee to the body or head, one giant right hand, one giant spinning elbow, it's over. Delgado has ridiculous power for this division. And he's young. He's improving. He's at a good camp. He's had the same coaches for his entire career. So this kid is somebody that I think has a pretty high ceiling, considering his size, considering his youth, considering the fact that he can sharpen his MMA toolbox here, work on his boxing, work on his defense, work on his wrestling, while he kind of just keeps that power in his back pocket, keeps that explosiveness in his back pocket that could potentially bail him out of some bad spots when he is going up against a more experienced fighter with a more well-rounded skill set, with more paths to victory. The type of opponent that Nathaniel Wood is here. So while I'm picking Delgado to win, and I think that there's some value on his KO prop at plus 240 here, you guys, I kind of feel like if Delgado looks like a minus 140, minus 150 favorite here, he's probably going to get a finish against the guy that's been finished in 4 of his 6 career losses in Nathaniel Wood, who has spent a lot of his career at bantamweight, so he's kind of undersized, a little bit less physicality than most of his opponents up at this weight class. So I can see really good reasons for backing both of these fighters at the current price. Delgado by KO, good look at about plus 240. Nathaniel Wood by decision, that's a really good look at anything better than plus 200. And I think that there are great arguments for both of those to happen. I just kind of feel like Delgado just needs one. He just needs one, and it's over. So I'm going to lean to the youth. I'm going to lean to the measurables. I'm going to lean to that explosive moment-winning potential on the Delgado side and pick him to win this fight by second-round knockout. We got Walter Walker versus Louis Sutherland next. Walker, big favorite here, and I absolutely get it. I think Walter Walker should make quick work, or not quick work, but easy work of Louis Sutherland here. The problem on the Sutherland side, well, really, first of all, it's kind of a greasy fight, because Walter Walker was supposed to fight a couple of weeks ago in Rio. I think he was supposed to fight Muhammad Usman. Usman tested positive for testosterone, had to pull out of the fight. So Walker was supposed to fight in Rio 2 weeks ago. Now he has to make the trip to Abu Dhabi. But luckily, they're both heavyweights, so they don't have to cut weight, right? Louis Sutherland was supposed to fight in Perth 4 weeks ago. He's supposed to fight Fat Tafa. Tafa comes in obese and is unable to make 266, which is just hilarious. This guy was too fat, and he tried to cut too much weight, so he got sick because this fat fuck and his brother, they ruined it for two fucking Australian fighters who could have gotten on that Perth card. They couldn't get on that Perth card because the UFC booked the Tafa brothers, who both wound up pulling out of their fights. So, yeah, I don't really see Sutherland having a good time here because he was training for a pure striker with no wrestling just 2 weeks ago, right? Or just 3 weeks ago, I should say. And now he's getting a guy that's a pure wrestler with no striking. And in that time, Sutherland has had to fly all the way to Perth, all the way back to Scotland, where he's from. And now he's going Scotland to Abu Dhabi to fight a guy when he had a full camp training for a striker. Now he gets almost no camp, about 8 days notice to take on a grappler in Walter Walker. So I could see an early submission. I could see a ground and pound KO, but I could also see Walter Walker kind of just getting takedowns in top time over a guy like Sutherland, who we've seen go out there against grapplers before and limit their ability to get to dominant positions while giving up takedowns. So just based on what I've seen from Sutherland in the past, I think he survives all 3 rounds. I'm picking Walter Walker by decision, but I'm not like playing Walker decision. I'm not playing Walker sub. I just think it's kind of better to just parlay his money line here because I think this is a terrible matchup stylistically for Sutherland based on what his previous opponent was and what he's had to go through in recent weeks to get this fight booked. The next one, Rumbeski versus Klein. This is going to be a great fight, really fun fight. Some money's been coming in on the Rumbeski side. I'm picking Rumbeski decision. I don't like how Ludovic Klein deals with pressure. I feel like he goes to his wrestling when he deals with pressure. And somebody like Rumbeski, who's got excellent takedown defense, he's built like a fire hydrant. If you ever have tried to take down a fire hydrant, you know how discouraging that can be. And I don't think Ludovic is going to like being on his back foot. He's a guy who has great kicks. And people with great kicks do their best work when they're kind of just standing in front of their opponent and circling in that inside of the cage where they can manage their range, manage the distance. It's much more difficult to fight with that kind of a style when you're fighting an opponent like Rumbeski, who comes forward constantly. He's a southpaw. He mixes in the wrestling. So not only does Klein have to worry about the forward pressure of Rumbeski, he's going to have to worry about him feinting those takedowns and feinting strikes and worrying about whether the offense is going to come from wrestling or striking. So I think that this is a fairly good matchup for Rumbeski. I never really got to the money line because, as you can see here on the tape, I've got it at plus 128. That's when I did the show on Wednesday night. I do have a bet on Rumbeski to win by decision with that. I got it plus 375, but I'm also considering adding on the money line if it gets back closer to plus 125. But I am favoring Rumbeski to win this fight. I think he wins it by decision because I think he's going to have some success in the clinch. I think he's going to have some success with the wrestling, and I think that he's going to land big shots on the feet as well. So I'm looking him to edge out a decision here based on damage, but he's got a really tough and well-rounded opponent here in Klein that's going to give him all he can handle. So I'm looking forward to that fight, but I'm picking Mateusz Rumbeski there. Here we got Ikram Aliskerov at minus 225 versus the Iran Turtle, Jun Yong Pak, plus 190. Fight doesn't go to decision here, sitting at minus 150 for this fight. I'm picking Park here. I'm picking Park by a late attritional KO. Aliskerov is going to be very dangerous early in this fight. He's the bigger, more physical fighter. I think he's got the better offensive and defensive wrestling, and I think he has more power on the feet. The problem is that there's a ton of unanswered questions on Ikram Aliskerov. He's had one fight on Dana White's Contender Series. He's had 4 fights in the UFC so far, and all 5 of those fights have ended in round number 1. So, but the problem is that he's 3-1 in the UFC. He got the win by submission over Mario Sosa on Dana White's Contender Series. Got a takedown early, advanced to a dominant position, and finished with the Kimura. And he's got 3 knockout wins in the first round at the UFC level, but they're against a washed Warlley Alves, and they're against 2 guys with the worst chins in the division in Phil Hawes and Andre Muniz. So, I mean, like a durable fighter that puts on a pace. When the last 2 fights we saw from Ikram Aliskerov that went into the later rounds, the last 3, I would even say, Nishan Burrell, he looked terrible. Chad Hanekom, who we've seen like it that isn't UFC level, he got beat on Dana White's Contender Series as well. Aliskerov just kind of has a greasy match with Hanekom. And then also the Dennis Tialulin fight. I mean, Aliskerov's taken down Tialulin and grappling with him. It takes him till like halfway through the 3rd round to get him out of there. While Jun-Yong Park, when he fought Dennis Tialulin, he fucking ran through him. So I just can't lay minus 225 on a guy like Aliskerov when I don't know what he looks like, or the what I have seen, how this guy looks outside of round number 1. There's no way that I could trust him against a guy like Park, who comes forward, who throws a ton of volume, who's displayed a lot of durability, and fights with the exact kind of style that you would like to see against an opponent like Aliskerov, who has unproven cardio, who has unproven heart. We don't know if this guy can push a grappling heavy pace for 3 rounds, and if he can't, he might actually be defending takedowns from Park, which could really put him in some bad spots, because Park's not going to get tired. Aliskerov is. And if Aliskerov is forced to wrestle here, I think that Park is going to maybe knock him out on the feet. So I've got a bet on Jun-Yong Park's money line at plus 200. I've got a small bet on Jun-Yong Park to win this fight by knockout as well. And I just think that while Aliskerov is going to be extremely dangerous early in this fight, I just think that there's a ton for him to prove in the later rounds of this fight. And against a guy like Park, who turns up and gets better as the fight goes on, I do think that it's worth taking a shot on the underdog here in Jun-Yong Park, and I'm picking him to win by a 3rd round attritional KO. The next fight, we got a pick 'em here between Haqparast and Salkild. This is a fight that I'm not going anywhere near. I think Quillan Salkild is the better fighter here. I think he's on a similar level of striking as Haqparast. I think he's almost as dangerous as Haqparast on the feet. I do think that Nasrat has excellent takedown defense, so I think it's going to be difficult for not for Salkild to maybe get some takedowns, but to do anything with them. I think it's going to be very difficult for Salkild to get a takedown to a place where he gets to a dominant enough position where he can actually hold down Haqparast and score some points. So Haqparast has evidently been in Abu Dhabi for a while. He was supposed to fight a couple of different opponents, so he's been getting ready for this. Quillan Salkild just signed this fight less than 10 days ago, you guys. He's from fucking Perth. Perth to Abu Dhabi is something like an 18-hour trip. And this kid is a very big lightweight who had to cut weight on 10 days' notice. So he made weight. Everything looks good. But I think it's a ton to ask for a guy who's been in there against Gage Young, a guy who's been in there against Anshul Jubilee, a guy who's been in there against Haider Emil, to step up against a guy like Haqparast, who's got a ton of UFC fights, a lot of UFC wins in Abu Dhabi, where we've seen him have decisions go his way against non-Muslim fighters. You know, Salkild, non-Muslim, Haqparast, Muslim, and we're in Abu Dhabi. So that is something that matters here. So I'm leaning with the guy with the full camp. I'm leaning with the guy with the experience advantage. I'm leaning with the guy with the big strength of schedule advantage. I'm leaning with the guy that's going to have the crowd behind him. And I'm leaning with the guy that's probably the better minute and moment winner in the distance striking exchanges of this fight. I do think Salkild is a better fighter all around than Haqparast. I just think he would need a full 6-week camp in Abu Dhabi to show it against a level of opponent of Haqparast. So I'm picking Haqparast to win this fight by decision. I like the overs for this fight. I think that this fight sees the scorecards at a pretty high clip. because I don't think that Haqparast has a lot of finishing power, and I think that Haqparast's takedown defense and ground game is good enough to avoid Salkild finding himself too dominant in enough positions where he could potentially finish the fight. So while I'm kind of non-committal on who wins here, I do like the overs for this fight. Next fight, Rakic versus Murzakanov. This is one I really don't have an opinion on. I think it's priced close for a reason. With Rakic, you got all the measurables advantages. You've got a massive strength of schedule advantage. I think you've got conditioning and advantages as well here. With Murzakanov, you've got a speed advantage and you've got a precision at distance striking range advantage here. So I think that this is going to be a greasy fight. Rakic is not somebody that goes out there and just likes to get into dick swinging contests. He's a very technical fighter. He's the kind of guy who is going to take the easiest path to victory if he can find it. And because of that, I think that he's going to try to wrestle Murzakanov. And if he does that, I think that he can win this fight by decision just by making Murzakanov fight a non-technical fight. Because Murzakanov is very fast. He's very springy on his feet. He's very precise with everything that he throws. And everything comes from the left side. There's nothing from the right side that's going to hurt you on Azamat. There's no real check right hook that you have to worry about. There's no real leg kicks that you have to worry about from the southpaw stance. You don't have to worry about a lot of offensive wrestling entries. You got to worry about the left kick, and you got to worry about the straight left hand. And he kind of does a good job of, moving in a way where he just features those weapons. He just rotates towards those weapons from distance striking range. He keeps his distance, and he tries to find that big shot. I don't think he's going to be able to against Rakic because I think Rakic is going to hug him and hold him and probably get some takedowns, probably just grease this fight in the clinch and on the mat where he can win a decision here. So that's my pick. Rakic by decision, I think is a decent number this week. I think it's an interesting look. But that's where I'm going with, but I don't really have a strong opinion on this fight one way or another. This is one that I do have a fairly strong opinion on. I'm going with Almeida here against Volkov. Jailton Almeida is one of the most dominant fighters in the UFC. In my probability stats and content package, you get these matchup stats. You can see here that Jailton Almeida is averaging 6.6 takedowns on 11 attempts per 15 minutes. He gets his takedowns at a 60% clip. And in his 61 minutes in the UFC octagon, he spent 84.2% of those 61 minutes controlling his opponents either in the clinch or on the mat. This is one of the most dominant statistics that you're going to see ever. If you think about Jailton Almeida's UFC career, this guy is 8-1. And the only loss was a fight that he won 5 minutes of that lasted for 5 minutes and 20 seconds. There was one little 20-second area where he shot a bad shot, got put into a bad spot, and finished with elbows. There's literally been 0 seconds outside of that exchange in the Blades fight where Jailton Almeida was put into any bad positions, put into any trouble by his opponents. This guy is one of the most dominant offensive grapplers in the history of this division right now. And his statistics are proof of that. And the fact that he moved up from 205 to 265 and is throwing these heavyweights around like it's absolutely nothing is mind-blowing to me. Alexander Volkov is a striker. He's not a grappler. We've seen him get dominated in grappling exchanges. Even the Romanov fight, he got away with such a blatant fence grab that he was getting taken down when he held onto the fence for more than a second and a half. And of course, a morbidly obese Alexander Romanov in that fight just quit after that. But Jailton Almeida's, he's going to shoot a takedown in the first 10 or 15 seconds, and he's going to get it, you guys. He's going to take this guy down. I mean, Alexander Volkov is 6'7". He's not a wrestler. He's not a great athlete. Jailton Almeida is an elite MMA wrestler, and he's going to take down Volkov. He's going to put him into bad spots, and he's going to finish him early. I like Almeida to win this one in round one. It'll either be a submission or a knockout. I love the money line here for Almeida as a big bet, because I not only think Almeida can just go out there like a hot knife through butter and just take this guy down and dominate him on the mat like Aspinall did, but I also think that Almeida can easily get takedowns in all 3 rounds and top time this guy on the way to a decision. So while I love Jailton Almeida's knockout prop right now at plus 510, because this dude has nasty ground and pound and he can finish fights with ground and pound when he gets to dominant positions. 3 of his wins at the UFC level are by knockout, but 4 are by submission. So you could tell that this guy can finish you. He's going to finish you on the mat, but it's just as likely to be ground and pound as it is a submission. So while I know that if Volkov were able to keep this fight standing, that he would win the minutes and moments at distance striking range, the fact that over a 9-fight sample size, Jailton Almeida only spends 10% of his UFC octagon time at distance striking range, it's, the likelihood that Volkov's going to find enough minutes at distance striking range to find a finish in this fight is very, very low in my opinion. So I'm high on Almeida this week, and I think he gets the job done. The next fight that we're going to talk about is Umar Nurmagomedov versus Mario Batista. I mean, Nurmagomedov is, fighter 1A. You got 1 is Merab, 1A is Umar, and then there's everybody else in the division that's not on these guys' level, and that includes Mario Batista. I'm very surprised here that the Nurmagomedov finish props are so underpriced. Mario Batista has been finished in both of his losses. This guy got knocked out by Trevin Jones, you guys. So I kind of feel like while Batista's been out there recently against guys like Jose Aldo and looked scared to be at distance striking range with Aldo, to the fact that he hugged him and clinched him for a full 15 minutes, you can't do that to Umar. Umar is going to take you down. He's going to potentially get to your back. He's going to land nasty ground and pound. He can finish you with a rear naked choke, and he has ridiculous power on the feet. That shot that he caught Barcelos with, that Barcelos didn't see, it sent him to the shadow realm, you guys. The guy was wandering around the land of wind and ghosts for about 45 to 60 seconds after that knockout. I think Nurmagomedov here at plus 255 inside the distance is an extremely underpriced bet. And to suggest that somebody who is a minus 700 favorite right now, who's sitting at about 87% implied, really doesn't have much finish equity against a guy who's been finished in his only 2 losses seems a little ridiculous to me. I would not be laying juice minus 175 on that Umar decision prop. I would not be laying juice on this fight to go over 2.5 rounds, because you're paying a lot of juice in a fight where this is a legitimate massive mismatch. Umar's way better than Mario Batista. There's no place where Mario is going to go in this fight to feel safe, and he's going to get out wrestled too. So yeah, I think that Umar to finish inside the distance is the way to go here. I like that inside the distance prop at plus 255. I think there's a ton of value in this KO prop at plus 900, because we've seen Mario Batista get knocked out by a guy like Trevin Jones. So if Jones can sleep you, Umar can sleep you. And then even the submission prop at plus 390, I wouldn't be playing that when the inside the distance prop is plus 255 and ground and pound or a standing KO is a possibility. So yeah, I like Umar. I like Umar to win it however he wants. Should be a pretty easy fight for him. We got Virna Jandiroba against Mackenzie Dern as the co-main event. This is a title fight. I like Dern. I like Dern quite a bit here. I rate her as the better striker. I rate her as the better submission grappler. And while Virna is the better offensive and defensive wrestler, in my opinion, I also think that Mackenzie Dern has shown so much more durability, so much more heart, and she has way more 5-round experience. So I don't see Virna being able to fight with full vigor for 5 rounds while we've seen somebody like Mackenzie Dern get put on death's doorstep by the hardest hitter in the division in Amanda Lemos and then come back and decisively win the third round with several bones in her face broken. Okay. So I think Mackenzie Dern, more conditioning, more durability, more 5-round experience, more heart. She's got a higher level of Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. She's a higher level striker. She's got the better wins at the UFC level as well. So I think that there's a lot of reasons to like the Mackenzie Dern side here. And in addition to all that, I mean, who do you think the UFC wants as title holder here? Somebody with, a big following in Dern, somebody who, people are posting pics of regularly, or Virna, So I just think that even if this does go to decision and maybe Virna clearly wins 3 out of the 5 rounds, it could still be a split for Mackenzie Dern. So I like Dern. I think she's going to get a late finish here. I played Dern's KO prop small. I played Dern's money line big. And I think that there's just too many reasons. I think Virna is just going to have to fight a perfect fight here. And you don't want to be on the ground with Mackenzie Dern. She's too good there. I know Virna is very fucking good there, but, you don't want to be in Mackenzie Dern's guard. She's going to be just working. So I see Mackenzie getting the job done here. I played the money line and I played the KO prop small. We'll see how it goes, but I think it's going to be new Mackenzie Dern on Saturday. And then the main event of the evening, Tom Aspinall versus Ciryl Gane. This is a great fight. I'm really looking forward to it. Aspinall is another dominant fighter, though. This guy's only left the first round once at the UFC level. He's got really big speed for the division. He's got really big physicality for the division. He's a well-rounded fighter with power on the feet, speed on the feet, and a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt on the mat where he can take you down and finish you with submissions or ground and pound. And, he's kind of just running through people. So it's a dominant fighter, so I get the price, Ciryl Gane, the only 2 times he's went out there against dominant fighters, one against Francis Ngannou. He probably could have gotten that win, but he showed some really bad fight IQ against a non-technical fighter that wound up costing him the 5th round there. And against Jon Jones, there's one of 2 things that happened there. One, which is what I think happened, I think he threw the fight. I mean, somebody as good as Ciryl Gane is at MMA cannot have a performance that bad. I mean, it looked like he lost on purpose. And if he didn't, then he's not beating if that was his best, if you're coming into a fight against Jon fucking Jones to be heavyweight champion of the world, a guy who is a known cokehead, alcoholic, fights once every 3 fucking years, and you go into that fight and that's how you perform. Jon Jones retired because he was afraid to fight Tom Aspinall. So if that was Cyryl's best, if that was him going out there trying to win against Jon Jones, then Aspinall is going to just make it look even easier. So I can't back Ciryl Gane here, you guys. Even at plus 300, I get all the reasons for it. But and look, I'm not betting this fight. Well, actually, I did bet this fight. I bet that the fight was going to end in round 1 because that's what I see happening here. I think that Gane could land something big. I don't think that's a very big likelihood, but I do think that Aspinall could get a takedown, really get Ciryl right into a bad spot there. And I mean, dude, he insta-tapped to a guillotine against the fence against Jones. So I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility that Tom can just run through this dude like Jones did. So yeah, I'm going with Aspinall KO 1. I think he's faster than Ciryl, actually, even though I think Ciryl is probably the better striker. I don't think he's more explosive than Tom. I don't think he's faster than Tom early. And I think he's going to have to weather just a horrific storm early in order to get this fight to a place where Tom actually might slow down, where Cyryl's movement and footwork could actually start giving Aspinall problems because it's later in the fight, because he's getting tired, because he's getting sick of chasing Ciryl around the cage. So, I like Aspinall, and I think that his number 1 win condition is just to go out there and run through this dude, run Ciryl Gane into a dick saw, collect his show check, collect his win check, collect another belt, and go home. So I think that's what's going to happen. But if Ciryl can weather the early storm and get this fight into the later rounds, he's probably going to look a lot better than plus 300, but that is a very tall order. So we'll see how that goes. Two things left here before we get to the Greasy 4-leg parlay. We're going to give you the Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week. I am picking a couple of underdogs this week, but this week it is going to be the Iron Turtle Jun Young Park money line sitting around plus 190. I like him a lot here because Ikram has a lot of unanswered questions, and I think Park has the correct style to answer those questions for us. And if he does, I don't think we're going to like what we see on the Alaskarov side. He likes to fight and get in and out of there quickly, and I don't think Jun Young Park is going to afford him that opportunity. So I think that there's a lot of plus money here, and I think that if he can weather the early storm against a guy like Alaskarov, that he can really make this dude work, tire him out, and put a pace on him and break him like he did like he did Duraev a few fights ago. So that is going to be your Bootsy Collins Memorial Dogs Are Barking pick of the week, which leaves us with the last order of business, Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week. And look, I did this earlier in the week, and it was Jacqueline Amorim. But at this point, I think the Amorim money line is sitting at around minus 450, minus 500 in some spots. I would recommend going with the Jailton Almeida money line. If you're just looking for something that I'm confident about, and I'm extremely confident in Amorim, I would use her as a parlay piece this week. When Jacqueline Amorim has had 11 fights in the last 5 years, you guys, Mizuki's had 1. I mean, just think about that, right? Activity is so important in this sport. You don't get time to get comfortable in there. If Mizuki hasn't had a fight in 2.5 years. So, like, if Jacqueline goes out there and immediately gets a takedown and then in a way is slow in a scramble because she's had both knees reconstructed multiple times, and Jacqueline gets to an advantageous position early, do you think Mizuki's going to be like, hey, I haven't fought in 2.5 years. Could you take it easy on me so I could get into a rhythm here? No, Jacqueline's just going to get her the fuck out of there. So, but the line is really wide. So if you don't want to play that, I would suggest playing the Jailton Almeida money line at around minus 190. There's money coming in on the Volkov side here. And I just don't see him competing at all in the grappling exchanges this fight. I think that Jailton Almeida is way more dangerous on the ground than Curtis Blades. I think he's way more dangerous on the ground than Cyril Gane. Way more dangerous on the ground than some of these guys that have been able to take down Volkov and cause him some problems on the mat. So I think the Almeida money line's the more economical way to go about it. But the official ass shaving of the week this week is going to be Jacqueline Amorim to shave the ass of Mizuki in a way, which brings us to the last order of business, which is going to be the Greasy 4-leg parlay. And the first leg of the Greasy 4-leg parlay this week is going to be Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week, Jacqueline Amorim, to find us a minus 435. And for some reason, I hate when they do this, but they're not even letting me get it. So I'm not going to be able to actually click the button because they don't have the Amorim fight available right now on Bet Rivers Sportsbook, but you're going to have to take my word for it that she's priced at minus 435 there. So Uncle Weezy's ass shaving of the week is leg 1. Uncle Weezy's backup ass shaving of the week is leg 2. We're going with that Jailton Almeida money line at minus 180. That brings the parlay up to plus money. Leg 3 is going to be the Mackenzie Dern money line, who I have a big bet on at minus 155. Like I said, I think she's the better striker. I think she's the more likely to finish fights on the mat with her Brazilian jiu-jitsu. She has more 5-round experience. She's shown better conditioning, and she's shown a lot more durability and heart than Jandiroba ever has. So I like Mackenzie Dern to win that fight. And then the last leg is going to be the under 1.5 rounds in the main event. I do think that Aspinall is going to run Cyril Gane into a dick saw and finish him in the first round. And I like that under 1.5 rounds. So the Greasy 4-leg parlay this week is going to be pretty simple. It's going to be something that we could do like on Bet Online, because it's what do you call it? That you can parlay the over-unders there. But if we were to do it there, let me just real quick here. If we were to do it on Bet Online, we could get this right now at Amarim minus 450. We could get Mackenzie Dern at minus 145, which is a really good number. We could get Jailton Almeida at minus 190, and we can get the under 1.5 at minus 125. That comes out to plus 467. But if you do it on Bet Rivers, it comes out to plus 489 on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. It's a little more conservative than I'm used to doing here, but these are all bets that I already have. I have Jacqueline Almarim's money line parlayed up. I have Mackenzie Dern's money line straight bet. I have Jailton Almeida's money line straight bet, and I have that under 1.5. While I don't have a bet on that, I do have the fight doesn't start round 2. So I'm just expecting that fight to end early. So yeah, this 4-leg parlay comes out to plus 489 on Bet Rivers Sportsbook. So there we go, you guys. And I'm going to put this back on the scroller here. 50% off discount. If I get a certain amount of signups by the end of the day today, I'm going to give out all my content for free. But I'm not going to say how many I want because I don't want some of you to be like, oh, well, I'll just not sign up and then hope he sends it out for free so that I don't have to pay for it. So, but yeah, if I get a certain amount of signups, I'm definitely going to just put the videos that I do behind the paywall every week out there for free so that people can see, you know, how hard I work for my Odds Shopper subscribers. So please consider supporting the work. If you can't do that, hit the thumbs up, hit the subscribe, leave me a comment, all that bullshit. I don't get really anything for that, but I guess it helps the algorithm. Maybe I'll make another 50 cents this month on YouTube, but really what I need is for people to sign up on the probability stats and content package and really kind of witness everything that they're going to get for that $12.50 for their first month. So if you want to support the work, hit that link in the description of the video. And let's see what you guys are saying in the chat right now. I see that we've got 304 people hanging out live between Twitter and YouTube. Smash that thumbs up, hit the subscribe, leave me a comment, but hit that link in the description of the video for that 50% off your first month to the probability stats and content package, like my guy Olajuwon did, like my guy Brandon did. Appreciate you guys for being a part of the community, man. And he's saying nothing like making a bet on Sunday and then having your guy miss weight. Might have been Azat, might have been Delgado, the only guys missing weight there. We got Mighty Pro saying, so why is the Trump administration allowing a foreign terrorist who threw a chair through a windshield of a UFS bus full of athletes to fight at the White House? He injured Chiesa and Rose Namajunas. I think he got Ray Borg, too. I think some of the glass broke and went into Ray Borg's eye and screwed him up, too. But here's why, Mighty Pro, and it's a great answer. Conor McGregor has turned his life over to Christ. So because he did that, now what that means is all that cocaine that he's been doing over the last 5 years, all the shit that he did during that time, all the bridges that he burned, all the people that he pissed off, all the people that he fucked over, the family that he lost, it's all meaningless. Because now he did the only PR thing that you could do to turn your life over to Christ, means that all the mistakes that you made in the past, you're forgiven for. And we as MMA fans are just going to have to deal with that. Conor McGregor loves Christ now. He's a family man now. He has short hair now. And he's no longer a cokehead. He's just a cocaine enthusiast. So this is something that we have to deal with as MMA fans. He's turned his life over to Christ. We just have to accept that, ladies and gentlemen. So welcome to the White House card. We're going to give you a candy ass that you can go out there and get a fake win against. And hopefully people will care. We'll see. But we got Abdi in the room saying the big squeeze. Stack him up, Weezy. This card is not as straightforward as many would actually think it to be. Some tricky fights and certainly some big dogs wagging tails. Tom is going to blitz Cyril emphatically, but Bones still has his number, even though his age has caught up with him. I'd say size as well. Bones at light heavyweight was phenomenal. He was the GOAT for sure. And it's 321. Give us 5 locks. Give us the big squeeze. Let's get it, man. Well, you got the Greasy 4-leg parlay, and I already gave you some ideas of what I've bet this week. We got Paku in the room saying, "Oh, what's up, dude?" We got Manny with the GOAT saying about to bet the house with these picks. Let's get it. Colby saying, let's have a weekend and feel like I'm seeing the board clearly. Abdi saying, what do you see as locks? Because it's 321. Come on, Tom. Maybe a story time saying bunk hoots. If I think of something, I'll come up. I'll let you know. But I don't have anything in the chamber today, bunk hoots. I don't think I have anything in the chamber. I'll have to think about it. Uncle Weezy is on time every time, never late. Perfect record. That's right, man. Look at my watch, huh? You don't get to wear a watch like that without. Oh, I forgot to wear my watch. Shit. But I was on time, I think. I think I was on time. And he's saying, what's up to Olajuwon? Uncle Weezy, what is your most anticipated fight on this card besides the main event? And what's the most underrated? I'm interested to see how Quillen Salkeld and Haqparast works out. I'm interested to see how Mirzakhanov and Rakic works out because I don't have a good read on that fight. And I also think that I'm really excited to see how Delgado performs against a well-rounded veteran like Wood. And I also want to see how Quillen Salkeld, did I mention that? Salkeld Haqparast? I want to see how Salkeld takes that step up in competition on short notice. I think if he performs well in this fight, it's got to be something where you're like, all right, we got to ride with this kid now. We got to lay the juice on this kid because if he takes a fight in Abu Dhabi against a Muslim dude on 10 days notice and makes the trip from Perth all the way to Abu Dhabi, makes weight, and then goes out there and wins a fight that he didn't train for, holy shit, that would be really impressive. Time to flay my special herb, says Adil. Let's get it, man. We got the high owl with the oi. Yes. Olajuwon's counting down the minutes till I'm off work. Let's go. Time to hit the dank, says my guy, safety inspector. Let's get it. There's our beat. Just the tip living. Let's go. Aspinall round one sub plus 800. That's a big number. I like that number quite a bit, man. Good bet. We got blow the horn. Oi. We got oi. And even Olajuwon noticed that we got an after the yes. Blue Jays time. I guess they're in the World Series, man. When the Cubs lost to the Brewers, I'm off of baseball until next year, man. We got Weezy Hefner. That's right, man. We got the coat on, baby. We got the smoking jacket. It's a pay-per-view. We got to put on the finery. We got Aldo HVS saying, come on, Weezy, I need a good win this time. I've been doing horrible. Let's get it, man. We made a little money last week, up like 3.5 units, I think. Let's keep the winning streak going, man. We got Mini Moo in the room saying, let's go, Weezy. Rochester, New York, stand up. MMA Casual in the room saying, oi. We got MDG saying, oi. We got the Bunk Hoots with the J's. We got Paul saying, just the tip. Aru, what's up, dude? Mizuki gang, stand up. Not me, man. Not me. Mizuki one fight in the last 5 years. I'm not backing that, man. Dixon saying, I'm in absolute shock because I just found out that the foot Walter Walker was wearing on a chain around his neck was in fact the foot of a former Amazonian rainforest midget. How about that, dude? You can get shit like that in Brazil from what I've heard, man. That's awesome. Weezy, Dodgers or Blue Jays today? I have no idea. I don't know anything about baseball. I'm a Cub fan, and I could give a shit about any other team that's not the Cubs. If it's not the Cubs, your Uncle Weezy doesn't care. So don't know. I had no idea there was midgets in the Amazon. Oh, yeah, dude. They're all over. There's midgets all over the world, dude. They got them in Africa. They're called the pygmies. And, yeah, there's some indigenous folks in the Amazons that are small, you know. The world's a big place, Dix Insider. A big, big place. Brandon saying Jays tonight. Dodgers have been sitting for a week. Not good in baseball. That is true. Join the odds shopper. My man Brandon knows because he joined. Weezy does good work week after week. Truly appreciate you, man. Weezy, a.k.a. Hugh Hefner, love the extra content. So worth the price, especially the write-ups. Yeah, and that's one thing that we do every single week, you guys, is I write up the fights, man. You know, I give you all the necessary information in order to make an informed decision. It's my process is getting all the information down, looking it over, and then making the pick. And it allows you to kind of go through my process, have access to all that information, And it's going to help you make better decisions when you take all of the necessary information into account, because there's so much to consider. So I think that somebody that does this for a living like me is going to be able to help you, get the kind of information that you need in order to leave no stone unturned, so to speak. So appreciate you, MMA Casual. I'm glad you joined up, man. We got DGen from Discord in the room saying, "Oi, I'm late, but I'm here." How's it going, Unc? All is well, man. Dude, looking to get through the free content this week. Gonna go and do some shopping. I don't think I'm done with my bets for the week, so I think I'm gonna take the rest of the night off tonight. I'm looking forward to it. We got Fred in the room saying flapjacks. We got Paku saying I'm an Aussie and it's hard to fade my guys, but seeing some value in Nasrat here. Good decision-making, fight IQ. He's the southpaw. He has experience winning that fun front foot placement battle. He likes the money line there. I'm picking him too, Paku. I'm just staying away from the fight. I like the over. I'm not staying away from the fight because I did bet the over. But I think that I agree with you there. If Quillen, if he gets the job done, Paku, it's a major feather in his cap. Can't believe the Jays actually got to the World Series. The Cubs did it back in 2016, and we won it, man. I had never seen a Cubs championship ever, so I was so glad when my team was able to do it, and I'm rooting for the Blue Jays just because the Dodgers spend a ton of money every year. They're just a factory of high-priced players. Be good to see a smaller market team win it. We got What's Up Weezy in chat, says my guy, the 4-ounce sniper with the Zabit pick there. The absolute disrespect for my girl Mizuki, who went to war with Grasso back in the day. How dare you, sir? Yeah. Would you bet Conor McGregor against Jack Della Maddalena? I would ask you, because Conor McGregor went to war with Chad Mendez back in the day. He could surely beat Jack Della Maddalena, right? We'll see how it goes, man. Your girl Mizuki has one fight in the same time stretch that Jacqueline Amarima's had 10. So I just don't think that the grappling is going to hold up. I don't think the takedown defense is going to hold up. But we'll see how it goes, man. We'll see how it goes. Tasty flapjacks. Let's go. Ahoy hoy, says this Sith-O-Matic. What's up, dude? We got Skabu saying spinning fat kick. We got Nathaniel Woods season. I want Chris to win so bad too, dude. I really do, man. I really hope that Chris Barnett wins. It would be so much fun if he did, man. The MMA Husky Hustler in the room saying Aru, which translates from Husky to human. Solid picks, my friend. Remember to stay husky. I love it, dude. I love it. We got Truth Hurts saying if Barnett wins, we all win. Truer words never spoken. We got MDG saying need that front flip celebration one more time from Fat Barnett. I hope so, man. Wood definitely was shorter in the face-off. Yeah, Delgado's a massive featherweight, so he's going to be at a big size disadvantage there. Hamdi sub plus 800. That's a 1-800 gambler fight for me. I wish you luck. You like the under 2.5 there, minus 125 in the Hamdi fight? I don't mind it either. Low key play on Delgado. The Walter and Tom to win by sub round 1 plus 37.25. Yeah, that's a pretty good look, man. That's a big number, and that's probably how they both do it. No concerns with the Delgado weight miss. Yeah, of course there are. There's the long trip. There's trying to cut weight on the plane. There's the weight miss. There's the big strength of schedule and UFC experience disadvantage that Wood is at. Remember, Wood has more fights in the UFC than Delgado has pro fights. So there's a lot. And I don't have anything on this fight. I think I do like the overs. I didn't bet them because I don't want to bet the overs in a Jose Delgado fight. That's not something that my heart at my age can take. So I'm not doing that. But yes, definitely concerns with the Delgado weight miss. That's why I'm playing the under, says Gasparian. Wood's last fight on his contract seems motivated to have a finish. And if he gasses out and folds, it would be for the under 2.5 as well. Walter decision, sub seems square. I picked the decision, Benino. I did. We'll see how it goes. Hamdi, Walker, Amarim, 2-unit play. So I've got a 2-unit play at just the Amarim and Walker. And I know somebody in my Discord added Hamdi to it as well. And I was like, no, don't add Hamdi. But, you know, he should win. He should win, dude. I will pray for you, Joe. We got It's Time, says my guy JMO. Good to see JMO hanging out in here. We got Rebecca KO props were actually decently lined. I ended up taking a shot on them. He's got power, dude. He's got big power. And JMO saying, let's go, Weezy. I'm building a rocket controller from scratch, and you're the sounds track. Let's go. Rocket controller. Dude, this guy's got some science in him, my man. I hope it all works well for you. We got Olajuwon saying we need it. We got my guy Brady, DFS by the numbers in the room, saying Rubeski's going to be eating out of a straw in a few years. Dude, he's taking so much damage in recent fights, dude. He's putting on absolute wars. It's been really fun to watch, man. We got Greenbat in the room saying, what's up, Weezy? Sometimes I eat popcorn. Sometimes I eat popcorn while watching Mackenzie Dern. It's much better eating popcorn while watching Mackenzie Dern. I want to watch Mackenzie Dern win this week and win it by KO, because then I'll be watching my bank account grow. Walter Walker going for 4 consecutive heel hook subs. What would be the odds of that before the streak started? 20,000 to 1. I mean, one thing that I could do is I could search in my database heel hook, right? I could search heel hook and find how many times we see that term in the how the fights finish, right? And then what we could do from 2013 until now, we could determine how many fights there were and what the odds were that a fight would finish by heel hook, right? And then we could use the binomial distribution in order to determine what the probability would be. And if anybody studied math, you know that the binomial distribution, you got the P and you got the 1 minus P, and then you just multiply each by the correct fraction of 1. So I think that it would be more than 20,000 to 1. If you were to just base it based on that type of calculation, like what is the overall percentage of fights in the UFC since the year 2013 that have ended by heel hook? And Walter Walker is probably a pretty good percentage of that. So I think it would be, if you use the binomial distribution, B-Negs, it would be probably a lot more than 20,000 to 1. Iceland Farts made it, and he likes the under 2.5 here. We love it. We got Sith saying, let's go the Iron Turtle. We got good to see you, Uncle Weezy. Let's get this money. Mr. D, good to see you hanging out in here. We got, do you think Nasrat covers the spread? No. I don't think he covers a minus. Well, I mean, I guess it depends. Is it plus 3.5 or is it minus 3.5? If it's plus 3.5, I think he covers. If it's minus 3.5, I don't think he covers. We got, with all due respect, I think Haqparast striking is much better. Yeah, I mean, well, it's been tested a lot more at this level, and I am rating him as the better striker, but I think Quillen, he's got good long-range weapons, B-Negs. I like his kicks. And if you think about it, right, Haqparast is mostly hands, and it's mostly blasts from outside of range into range, putting together combinations. You know, if he's not blasting in consistently, I think that Salkild's straight right hand and his kicks from he does switch kicks and rear leg kicks could potentially do a pretty good job of managing the distance against Haqparast. But we haven't seen him really do it against this level of opponent yet. So I totally understand why you think Haqparast striking is much better. He's proven it at the UFC level over a much larger sample size. The Indian Habib is pretty good. Yes, that is Anshul Jubilee, and he got screwed in that Salkild fight. Definitely an early stoppage there. And I think he comes back and just shaves Salkild's ass. That was his toughest win so far. So we'll see if I mean, like, it wouldn't be as good of a win over Jubilee if he were to beat Haqparast, but we know that he beat Jubilee. So he's got that feather in his cap permanently, MMA casual. We got Dixon saying, isn't Ikram supposed to have a Dagestani wrestling background? Like, wasn't he trained by Abdul Manap, Khabib's dad? Is it possible that he has the Russian grind takedowns to a decision DNA in him? Well, it's possible, yeah. But I don't like this dude's conditioning. And the more you wrestle, the more it wears on your gas tank. So I think the reason that we haven't seen him wrestle as much as we would think he would is because that he's never really done the road work or put in the necessary work in order to have a gas tank to fight with that type of a game plan. Gastelum decision sounds about right. Yeah, and then you're talking about Hack Pressed, and I agree. And I see a lot of decisions on this card as well. And ring a ding ding, you guys. A $5 donation to the cause from Chalky Bets. Truly appreciate you. Any pre-tape leans on Jeremiah Wells versus Temba Garimbo. Also, Cedricus Dumas fight week. He's going to be fighting Dante Johnson next week. So for Wells and Garimbo, that's probably a fight I will have very little of. Wells is old. Wells is old, and I don't think we can really trust him to like go out there and offensively grapple. I've seen a couple of fights where I was like, I bet on Wells because I thought he would grapple offensively, and I think he's kind of depends on winning moments. I don't think he has a well-defined minute winning skill set. And Garimbo being the younger fighter, the better career trajectory, the guy that the UFC seems to be pushing more, I think I'm leaning Garimbo pre-tape. But until I actually write the fight up and go through my entire process, I'm not going to have any kind of a strong lean. But I would lean to the Garimbo side there. I don't think they're matching him up with a 39-year-old Jeremiah Wells to get him knocked out. So just my thought there, Chalky Bets, but truly appreciate the donation to the cause. We got AWMD loving Walter by ass shaving. I think he should win this one for sure, dude. We got Rakic, Nazrat, Rebecca round 3 decision. And I'm picking all 3 of them, Frank. And he likes the turtle, and he likes Volkov by KO. Your Uncle Weezy hates Volkov by KO. Hates it. By thumbs down. I hope that doesn't happen. But I feel like if Volkov wins this fight, it's going to be a knockout, right? Because you see Gileton dominating the grappling exchanges of the fight, but if he's not getting the dominant positions, if he's unable to hold Volkov down, he's going to get tired, and then Volkov could land something big that could just get him out of there quickly. So very interesting. Volkov by KO, definitely a bet that could absolutely hit. We'll see. We got Gambino decision, Johnson KO. Who? Johnson. All right, I don't see anyone named Johnson on this card. Gambino. Are you talking about Garimbo? Huh? We got Call Me Husker saying Volkov by round 2 or 3 finish. Almeida primarily wins when his fights finish in the first round. Very true. First or second round finishes pretty much exclusively for Gileton. Weezy, we're aligned on all the picks thus far, and there's no way we lose. Truly appreciate you, C. Kurz. We got Count Christian saying, do you think Volkov is a bad money line bet this week? No, I don't think it is. Like, I bet the Almeida money line, but we have our reads on how we think the fight is going to take place, but you can't convince me that Volkov at plus 160, when he's got a strength of schedule advantage, when he's got a height advantage, when he's got a reach advantage, and a massive, massive striking advantage. Of course, if Volkov keeps this fight standing and is able to stop Almeida from having grappling success, he's going to look better than plus 160 by a large margin. So there's reasons, there's reasons to like both sides at the price. And Volkov is not a bad money line bet. I'm going the other way. I don't like to bet against dominant fighters. When I do, I usually get my ass shaved, and I consider Gileton Almeida to be a dominant fighter. So I'm on the Gileton side, but there's good reasons to bet Volkov. All right. Yeah. And look, I mean, I get it, you guys. We can't be too caught up in our reads because this is MMA and shit happens in MMA, dude. I mean, Gileton could have 2 broken legs right now, and he's just hiding it from us. And then he's going to look like shit in there and then be like, yeah, I had 2 broken legs, and they'll let me fight. So you never know. And ring a ding ding, you guys. We got the £5 donation from our guy Tajik Bey. He's going with Gane, Wood, and Sutherland. Thank me later. That parlay would be priced at Gane, Sutherland at plus 315, and Wood at plus 1. Where is the Wood line? Maybe it's down here. Yeah, plus 123. That is plus 35.56 if you were to parlay all of them, all big plus money spots. I get the Gane read. I get the Wood read. I think Sutherland's going to get fucking destroyed, Tajik Bey. I mean, this guy was training for a striker. Now he's facing a grappler. We've seen Sutherland get taken down. And in the Babley fight, in the Slim Trabelsi fight, we've seen like the wrestling has been the weakness of Sutherland in 2 of his 3 losses. And then the other one against that Polish dude, it was just forward pressure. And I think that Vulture is going to do a lot of those things that Sutherland doesn't really deal well with. So I can get with the Gane play. I can get with the Wood play. But the Sutherland play, I don't like at all. We'll see how it goes, though, man. And thank you so much for the donation, Tajik Bey. I hope all is well. And Iceland Farts thinks that it's a bad bet, but Volkov is going to look like a good bet if he stuffs the takedowns. I think Charlton's going to rinse him on the mat. We'll see how it goes. Sutherland is the most ambitious one. I agree with that, Frank. He's just better, and Charlton is a one-sided fighter, man. Yeah, that's very true. I think Gane is very live, says Frank, and I agree. Volkov is a turtle on his back, Christian. He's a big dude. When you're 6'7", it's just hard to get up anyway. When you got Charlton Almeida on top of you, it gets a lot harder to get up. Olajuwon is hyped for this fight. Agreed, man. I mean, what happened in Almeida versus Blades? There was one small little period where Almeida got caught in a bad spot. And outside of that, Blades was wearing fucking Charlton Almeida like a cheap suit for the entire fight. That's what happened. We got, I look forward to seeing what Volkov's game plan is here. He knows full well that Charlton will try to take him down. Is Volkov a guy who will just let that happen without a plan? I don't think so. I think he's got a chip on his shoulder, a big one. That's for sure. Weezy, I'm currently in Dubai. Just got done railing a hot escort. Now I'm waiting on my food order, looking to stack some cash tickets like flapjacks when I drive to Abu Dhabi tomorrow at 21545. Get it, man. Go out there and get it. I'm glad that you're banging escorts. I'm glad that you're staying at nice hotels, eating 5-star meals, and let's stack some 5-star flapjacks on these fights tomorrow night. Enjoy the fights. Have a great time out there. B-Neg saying Volkov is 6'9" and strong, though. He might be able to get up over and over. He might. He definitely might. And then again, he might wind up like everybody else that's fought Volkov or fought Charlton other than Blades and just wind up getting choked out or pounded out. Charlton is harmless. What do you mean knockout? I mean, 3 wins by knockout at the UFC level, all of them by ground and pound. Charlton is not harmless. Charlton has finished 100% of his wins in 3-round fights. He only went to Derek Lewis decision because it was plus 2,000 for it to go to decision. He cashed his buddies a bunch of bets in that fight. So, yeah, I love the Charlton knockout prop at plus 510 here. A lot of value in that high owl, in my opinion. We got Volkov can survive the early grappling. He will win. Yeah. I think so, if he can survive it. But I also think he might get taken down in all 3 rounds here. Nobody stops Charlton's takedowns. That's the problem. I mean, who's stopping them? Even fucking Blades couldn't stop him. Gane couldn't knock him out. I mean, Gane's ground game is dog shit. I'm not talking about Charlton Almeida knocking him out on the feet, high owl. I'm talking about taking him down, getting to his back, flattening him out, and then just finishing with ground and pound, like he did against Abdurrahimov. Like he did in his last fight against Sergey Spivak. He's done it 3 times at the UFC level. I believe the Danilo Marquez win was also a ground and pound win. Squeeze, your thoughts on DC saying Almeida can't fight? Well, I think he's right. He didn't say Almeida can't grapple. He said Almeida can't fight. Almeida can grapple, though, and when you're as dominant of a grappler as he is, you're going out there and you're winning 90% of the control time positions in your fights. Only 10% of your octagon time is spent at distance striking range over a 9-fight sample size. So he couldn't fight if it was a boxing match, but they let you wrestle in MMA, so he can fight. the thing is that DC was an elite wrestler his whole life. So somebody like, if he got matched up against somebody like Giles and both of these guys' primes, DC would be like, oh, this is free fucking money because this guy is not taking me down. And once we get on the feet here, I'm going to knock him the fuck out. So somebody like DC, who is an elite wrestler, yeah, he can go out there and say Almeida can't fight. But DC's too old to fight Almeida. You know, what's his name? The other AKA guy, the former champ, Cain Velasquez. He's too old. You know, it doesn't matter that these guys have good takedown defense and Jonathan Almeida would have been an easy fight for them. Alexander Volkov's got dog shit takedown defense. So that's going to be the problem here. Fax Brother says, Frank, it's only 3 rounds, Mr. D. That's right. I don't like how Almeida looks versus tall dudes. Like, what do you mean? Like, he's beaten every tall dude that he fought. Other than Curtis Blades, who's one of the shorter guys that he fought, actually. Volkov is the value dog this week, says MDG. Volkov will win, in my opinion. He'll grapple him down to the floor and fart on his face. Jesus. Herb Dean will stop at round 2. My God, man, that is just... You can't do that. I don't think you're allowed to do that. How tall is Derek Lewis? I think like 6'4". I love fight doesn't go to decision at plus 185. Mario needs to come out here and get a finish. He's not winning a decision against Nurmagomedov in UAE. Mario has been KO'd by 14 and 12. Trevin Jones, who only has 3 KOs too. Absolutely, dude. And subbed by Sandhagen. I love the violence as well, man. We got Umar went back to his village after the Marab loss and got flogged near enough stoned. Kizzle Russia doesn't like losers. So many people are on Umar decision. Yeah, I like the finish, man. Khabib disowns him if he doesn't get inside the distance. And my guy, the Die Hard MMA podcast, Clint, is in the room saying it's Umar's season. Yes. Good to see Clint hanging out in here, man. We got Olajuwon saying what's up. Good to see Clint always hanging out, man. Die Hard MMA podcast, one of the original podcasts in the space. We got Blue Eyed Samurai saying, damn, I'm late. Good luck, gents. Same to you, my man. Many similarities versus Ikram and Park and Wood versus Delgado. Yeah. Well, yeah, I guess a little bit. Yeah. Weezy has the hots for Dern. I just think she's going to win the fight. That's what it is for me, man. We got McKenzie via KO. There we go. I'm with you, Mr. D. I bet that at $750 for a quarter unit myself. Dixon saying, Prophet Virna about to pull up looking like your local ceramics community college professor. I love it. Come on, Tom, says ASMR Levitt. Yeah, I agree. Tom, I think, should win. We got Gone by Split is his money line. We've got Dixon saying Prophet in the spirit of a good old-fashioned degeneracy. Yes, you can. You can interest me in a serial Gone heel hook at plus 6,000. Absolutely. Absolutely. I think it's his path. I really do. It's the only time we've ever seen Tom Aspinall lose a fight other than DQ. It was by a heel hook against Stuart Austin, like way back in the day. It was almost 10 years ago, but still, Gane loves going for heel hooks, and we've seen Aspinall lose by that before. Yeah, and MDG loves that Aspinall round 1 sub. We got, let's not forget, Gane didn't even beat Volkov and got the decision, but didn't win. Yes. Yeah, but Gane was getting takedowns against Volkov. That's a bad look. If you're going to be fighting Jonathan Almeida and Serial Gane's out there out grappling you, yikes, not good. And my guy Dan Levitt, who was on Clint's show this week, saying smash the like button for my Uncle Weezy. Truly appreciate you, Dan. Another OG in the room with us today. We got, I think Tom will surprise us by taking him down straight away, and his ground game is better than Gane. Why take the chance of Gane hitting him? Tim by submission round 1. I don't mind it at all. I think it could be a sub. I think it could be a ground and pound KO. I think it could be a standing KO. I think it's going to get done early here. Good call on the Jordan sub last week. Got Mallet decision and Jordan sub in 2 parlays, but neither of my KO legs hit, which were Frivola and Barlow. Yeah, I mean, the Mallet decision hit for me. The Jordan sub hit for me. That was good. You know, those were good calls, and my model loved both. Loved the Mallet decision, loved the Jordan submission, and there are some spots that my model loves this week as well. I did the take this job and shove it parlay, and I think I'm going to make a special video with just the take this job and shove it parlay this week, because it's got 3 really big time plus EV spots that remind me of the Mallet decision and Jordan sub plays from last week. So yeah, let's hope we can hit a long shot parlay this week. It's Guzzy. Look at the success Tuivasa had against Gane on the feet. Gane has no advantage other than the fight getting into the 4th or 5th round. I tend to agree. The Vegas angle is scaring me. Everyone is on Tom inside the distance. Yeah, that does worry me. Profit, if Tom re-injures his leg from checking a leg kick and loses by KO, a lot of us in the MMA community are going to be homeless Sunday morning. Going to have to hedge no matter what at the end. Well, I've just played if the fight doesn't start round 2. So if Tom does break his leg, I cash anyway, as long as it's in round 1. But yeah, dude, I think Tom's leg is in better shape now than it was before the surgery. So I think that's going to be good for him. Yeah, I miss Steve Mazzagatti too, man. B-Neg says he's a sick man. He sits cage side, though. You can see Steve Mazzagatti. He's got gray hair now, and he sits cage side in one of those black and white striped referee shirts. You can see him. Blue-Eyed Samurai saying that he's got Nathaniel Wood here. Agree. In more ways than one. We might be talking about the Mackenzie Dern fight. Many similarities with the Aliskerov and Delgado fight, guys, who have had quick finishes versus seasoned vets. Yeah, I see that, right? Delgado, 2 first-round finishes. Aliskerov, 4 first-round fights finishing in the first round. So, and you got Park and Wood, who are pace guys who go to decision a lot. Like Raul Rosas, I like it. Almarim, Walker, Almeida, hedge off Almeida if it makes it to round 2. I like that, dude. That was actually the money line parlay that I gave out this week on probability, but so I'm with you. Vierna's going to shave the ass of Dern, and I wish it was me, says B-Negs. Underwriter says 100% there will be a queef in the Verna Dern fight. If there's a line on that, you might want to play that. We got JHU saying thank you, man. Appreciate you. AWMLOL, let's get it. We got really enjoyed the show. Thank you, dude. Absolutely. We got Kamayev saying, surprised you're going against Ikram. I feel like he has every advantage. I love Park, but he probably would have gotten finished in his last fight without the foul. Yeah, it could be, dude. I mean, I just think Ikram has so much to prove. I mean, Jun Young Park has got a way better chin than Muniz, a way better chin than Hawes, and he's way better right now than fucking Warley Alves, who's basically retired. Dern via ass, says Justin Cash. Let's get it. Give your Uncle Weezy money now, says my guy Michael. Truly appreciate you, dude. I know that Michael is a member of the Odds Shopper community, so he knows what he's talking about, everybody. We got It's Worth It, y'all. And yeah, it really is. So appreciate you guys. Is Dern on the Mount Rushmore for hottest UFC bodies ever in the UFC? I don't know. I mean, Rachel Ostovich is one I remember. I'm a big Norma Dumont fan. Let's see what else. And there's some great ones, dude. I mean, it's too many to count. Actually, there's a lot of really good ones. Jason Herzog in the room saying, can't wait for all the overs to cash this weekend. Move, fighter. Well, I got the Stop the Violence parlay. I've got a couple overs in my probability parlay. So hopefully Jason Herzog is reffing these fights and he gets some of these overs to come through for his Uncle Weezy so I can cash some of these parlays this week. Good to see everybody's favorite referee, Jason Herzog, in the house. Good to see Jason. All right, you guys. JHU crying because Herzog's in the room. We got Jerky Boy Casey in the room. We're laughing. We got B-Neg saying McGregor is a terrorist. We got Jesus don't like him. Next caller. We got Cluffy Gaming saying, can put my money on Volkov. I wouldn't if I were you, but I mean, if he winds up keeping it standing, he'll look great. Weezy, in the future, when using your prediction models, can you try to incorporate percentages of fighters who have the most likely chance of a random act of God or the commission to re-intervene? I wish I had access to that data, Truth Hurts. If I did, man, I think we'd all be rich at this point. But my God, there's like stray hair over in where? Here? No, it's on this side. That just looks terrible. I don't know what's happening here. It won't. Anyway, who cares? I wish I could do that, man. We got no more cocaine, says Mr. D. We'll see, because cocaine is the kind of thing you just can't put down one day and decide you're never going to do it again when you were, blowing rails for every day for the last 4 years. Cocaine can get a little bit addictive sometimes. So we'll see how we'll see if Jesus is able to help Connor with that. We got washed clean in the name of the Lord, and he's a brand new man, a pillar of society, salt of the earth. Look, my guy Robert gets it. He's out here playing chess while the rest of you punks are playing checkers, and I agree with him. It's everything that happened in the past is now meaningless. He's given his life to Christ. There's nothing we can say. Connor versus Diaz, that would be a fair fight, I think, because I think Nick Diaz is equally as washed as Conor McGregor is. Just saying aloha. Thanks for all the work, says my guy Jorge. Thank you for hanging out, my man. Who here buys picks? Come walk. I want to have a chat, says UFC Garrison. I appreciate that you keep shilling your product to once an hour tops, unlike those guys that want picks who can't go through one pick without advertising to you. Yeah, I mean, I tend to agree, man, because we don't make anything to show up here to YouTube, right? Like the YouTube channel doesn't really make money. So what we really are here to get people to try to buy our products, because that's how we can actually have the time to be able to put together a good show for you guys that I can show for free. So, yeah, I don't want to fucking inundate you with that. And I don't want to be out there on Sunday, like making 5-minute videos about every bet that I made that hit, because it feels disingenuous because people aren't making the videos about the bets that they made that didn't hit. And I try to advertise enough so it's worth me coming here and spending. I've been here an hour and a half, you guys, and this video is maybe going to make $10. So it's like I'm kind of coming here for free, so that's why we have to advertise our products. I just don't want to inundate with you, and I'm glad that you appreciate that, my man. Did you see how short Murzakanov was? Do you think he's in trouble? Dude, he's always been that short, and for some reason he just goes out there and murders dudes. So I'm not worried about the height. I'm not worried about the speed. I'm not worried about the technique. What I am doing, Ucelis, is just staying away from the fight. I don't have a strong read on that fight. Rockets by decision's the pick. I'm just going to watch that and try to gain information on both fighters. B-Neg saying, makes sense, Jeff. Connor won't be on the card, though. This is just all talk. I tend to agree. Well, yeah, you're right about that, Jorge. I'll give you that, man. We got Father Mazga saying, please tell me you're also on Barnett. I'm picking Hamdi. I'm not betting the fight, and I am rooting for Chris Barnett to get a knockout win. Ucelis, I think the issue for Murzakanov is how low output he is. He's used to being the short guy. Virna is so fine. Agree with you. So you're scaring me with these picks, Unc. Well, I mean, I don't mean to scare you, but it's just, look, it's MMA, you guys. There's a bunch of experts that come here, and I'm one of them that comes out here and gives you the picks every week. And boy, sometimes we look smart, and boy, sometimes we look like fucking assholes. So it's MMA. You can never be too confident in your read. That's why all those other information data points that are available in the fight are great ways to kind of look at both sides. Look at the current line. Look where the value is. Look what the smart bet is. And there's more than one way to read that data and to read the stylistic matchups. Robert is saying, wash clean like I was after putting faith in RDR. Yeah, you and me both, brother. I asked for forgiveness and was made whole. I don't know what was going on with RDR last week, but there was something. There had to be something going on behind the scenes, because that fight took place exactly like I thought it would. Like I was saying, okay, Brendan Allen's not going to stop the takedowns. So easily, RDR is going to be able to get takedowns and get to dominant positions. And he did that in rounds 1, 2, and 3. He rinses them all of round 1, but then he gets reversed in round 2. He gets reversed in round 3, and he has no answer from the bottom when he's like a high-level grappler. So the fact that he had no answer, the fact that he was easily getting reversed, I mean, he was either injured or sick or just not 100%, and I'm not sure what it was yet. Omni in the room saying NWOG 1-1. We got B-Neg saying that Aspinall round 1 sub prop is tempting. Yes, it is. UFC Garrison saying that I love Uncle as much as the next guy, but this is a glaze fest at this point. I don't know what you're talking about. Gene Ellis says, sup, Weezy, popping in for an oi. Gonna listen later. Good to see you, Gene. Thanks for hanging out, my man. The Lock WGAS. We got, who's that black and white picture in the background of you? It is Scott Baio. Yes, Scott Baio picture. He's a lusty lad. He's one of the most legendary ass getters of all history. And yeah, that one's Tony Montana. I do have a picture of Scott Baio somewhere else in the house. And then below that, obviously, is a picture of the diabolical one, Bismarck Key, right below. So that's the diabolical one. We got Tony Montana above him, and then I got a big, like massive picture of Scott Baio out in the main room. We got Robert saying, Weezy, what percentage would you give to Gane? Not the odds, but your personal percentage. I would say about 25 to 30%. Because I feel like if you put, minus 300 on Aspinall's name, that's 75%. Minus 400 would be about 80%. And that's about where I put him, just because I feel like it's going to be very difficult to survive the first round. I got a big speed advantage on the Aspinall side early in the fight, and a big grappling advantage. So I think the line is pretty good where it's at, and I tend to agree with the market for Gane's winning percentage. We got Olajuwon saying, it's me. Has Virna ever been to the championship rounds? Against Mizuki back in 2018, she went 5 rounds with Mizuki, but Virna was able to easily get a takedown at the beginning of every round and just kind of lay on top of her. What other sport can you watch a morbidly obese man break his jaw, then win by getting on top of another morbidly obese person? Best sport. And for that reason, exactly. Yeah. I've added Hamdi because I'm already exposed to the other big fakes. So it was Olajuwon who added Hamdi, and I was like, no. We got Fish God saying favorite prize picks plays. I haven't even looked. But I might actually be putting out a play later on tonight if I can. It won't be prize picks, but it might be sleeper. I'm going to be looking to do a video for sleeper potentially, if I'm allowed to. I got to check with some people and a contract that I have, but I can't do the prize picks right now, Fish God. But I will let you know if there's any over-unders, and I'm looking to do a video later on today with that kind of content. We got says my guy Abdi. What's going on, dude? We got Olajuwon saying maybe I'll cash out that Amareem Walker Hamdi parlay and add Dern instead of add Gilton. Or wait, are you on Volkov? You might be on Volkov, so you probably don't want to add Gilton. Now just keep Hamdi, dude. If he fucks this up, you'll be able to tear him a new ass all week, and it'll be worth it. We got Abster saying, hey, Uncle Weezy, thoughts on this bet 365 as Tom to get 15 round 1 significant strikes at minus 300 versus Caesar having his 10.5 line at Pick'em at minus 115. Do you think 11 at minus 115 is worth a shot? He could probably sub him with 1 takedown. Well, if you were part of the odds shopper community, my man, you would have access to the stats that you see here on the screen, and you would be able to know how many Tom Aspinall strikes are landed at distance striking range per minute, and it's 6.12, and that information is there, and it's also here. Serial Gane is only absorbing 2.5 distance strikes per minute. So it's somebody like Aspinall, who's landing 8.1 significant strikes per minute. The problem is that on the other side, you got a guy that's over a 5 minute, your average 5 minute sample size is only averaging 11 significant strikes absorbed. So it depends on how much Gane is willing to engage with Tom Aspinall, and if Tom Aspinall chooses to grapple. Because if he chooses to grapple, it's going to be harder to land significant strikes in the clinch and on the ground than it is at distance striking range. So I don't usually play those one-round props, but I mean, there's a number of different ways to look at that, and it's just not something that I get involved with usually. But I would probably play the under. But like I say, I don't really have a real good read on it. We got AWMD saying, I feel good about your Greasy parlay this week, Unc. I mean, it's not the most greasy one that I put out recently, but I feel like it's got 4 really good names in there. We got, if you predict 4 straight heel hooks, you should just go straight to heaven. We got, that sounds more negative than anticipated, but y'all get it. And I hope you're joking about Jubilee. I am. Obviously, I was, my man. And we got Jorge saying, by the way, yeah, you did say that. Yes. We got interesting take, kind of true when you think about it. Sadly ass, but still beats memes, I guess. Rakic wins round 1 and then gets folded in round 2. Watch, it could absolutely happen. Wow, flashbacks from grad school. Advanced stats, hated that class. P binomial variance, vectors, and my nutjob professor wouldn't allow a stats calculator. Just a basic calculator was approved. Yeah, when I remember when I was taking actuarial exams, they only let you use this this calculator, which is the BA2 Plus, and it's got some pretty good functions in there, but there are functions in a lot of calculators that you would be able to use on those exams that would be able to get you to the answer a lot quicker. So they make sure that this is an actuarial calculator for actuarial students, so that they don't have access to the kind of programs that can make some of those actuarial science questions that you get on the exam easier. But yeah, man, math is not easy. It takes a lot of work to understand it. Mirzakanov's got that DC aura. Yup. We got, why is that? We got, I believe you, let's see here. We got, what is going on? That sneaky Mike shit. I don't know, man. That's a bit too convenient a leak. I will hedge Almeida KO in your honor, Unc. Yeah, we'll see, dude. I need an Umar decision. Umar last 5 fights have gone to decision. He can change that. Can he change that? Well, I mean, he's facing a higher level of competition, but I think that he could have easily finished Almakhan if he had just tried, but he never really tried. And he was coming off a long injury layoff there, so I think he just wanted to get 15 easy minutes, and that's what he did. But, I think Umar at this point, like if I'm around that dude, I'm telling him like, hey, man, you can't just go out there and fucking win a decision against Batista and think that they're going to give you a title shot. Nobody cares about Umar. He's not exciting. There's no personality there. His fight style is not exciting. He's not aggressive. So I think that he needs to fucking go balls out, man. I think he needs to show a little bit of excitement here. I think he needs to run through Batista in a way where he looks minus 625. He KO'd Hani 4 fights ago. Virna to get 1 takedown. Yeah, I mean, I think Virna is going to get 1 takedown. Yes. Drew Dober fucked my parlay. Why? He won. Oh, was it because it was probably because you had Prepelec or something like that, or maybe Fight Goes. Mizuki by Mother's Milk, probably not. We got Dirty Reg saying, I like Carol Hosa's shapes. She's underrated fine to me. Well, so does Denise Gomez. That's Denise Gomez's side piece there. So you and Denise Gomez have similar taste in women, Dirty Reg. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot of good ones, man. There's a lot of good ones. Weezy, make some t-shirts, baby. I'll buy one, says T.O. Phillips. Maybe if I can find the right design. You never know. You've got a lot of funny shticks. Yeah, I could probably come up with something, I'm sure. And ring a ding ding, you guys. Chris Barnett via Buffet, the $2 donation from Justin Cash. Truly appreciate you, my man. We got $12 in donations today, you guys. So that's like one sign up on the Odds Shopper at half price. So truly appreciate the support to the show, you guys. Olajuwon saying, that's why I love your model. Takes all biases out and shows the true underpriced props. Yeah, exactly. And yeah, you are on Volkov, so I do want Chris to win. So if Hamdi busts it, at least we get to see some epic shit. And that'll be like the scenes, you know? It's like sometimes you lose bets, but you're like, that was a scene when we lost that bet, and it was almost worth it. Good luck tomorrow, says my guy Muhammad. I'm odd, Bruce Lee. Good to see you hanging out in here, buddy. We got Olajuwon saying you too. We got thoughts on Umar -3.5 at -180. I like it. I think that he should win all 3 rounds here or even get a finish, in which case that covers. And in Abu Dhabi, I think it's going to help as well. So I think it hits. But I'm not playing it myself. Men of Culture, says my guy Gus B. Hail, Weezy. Appreciate you, man. We got Trin Video saying, there really isn't anyone for Merab to fight, though. Merab had the hardest time against Umar, so I think even without a finish, he will get the title shot. And yeah, it's gotten to the point where Merab has kind of cleared out the division, and the guy that gave him the most trouble was Umar. So I tend to, yeah, that's a very good point, dude. Have you ever dabbled in arbitrage betting, Weezy? It's the only way I bet. Yeah, I mean, I used to be a trader on the floor of the Chicago Stock Exchange, so the concept of arbitrage is obviously something that any trader is familiar with. And as somebody that's selling a product, that's selling a data product and tracking bets, I don't want to be out there arbing stuff, because you're supposed to kind of make a bet and stick with it. But I have no problem with arbing, and I think it's a great strategy, especially if you can get to the markets early and anticipate line movement. Yeah, they're not. I mean, if they investigated they only investigate when people who aren't supposed to fix fights. Like if the commission does it, if the judges do it, if the referee does it, if it's the matchmakers who are just, fixing a fight for a fighter that they want for a win, that'll never get investigated, because those are the people that are supposed to fix fights. That's why you start a commission, is so that you can profit from illegal gambling. So they're not going to investigate him. They would investigate, a coach if a coach was involved in fixing a fight, but not a referee. Never. Weezy, do you have an all Muslim parlay? No, I don't. Not this week. Umar, Mirzakhanov, Hakparast, Alaskarov. Nah, man. No, not interested this week at all. It's flapjack time, says my guy, the Beat Fanatic. Dan Mergliata, says Justin. We got free Chauncey. And the biggest issue is having good OPSEC and different IPs to place bets, because if the books suspect arbitrage, they will ban you quick or limit you. And absolutely, you have to be very, very careful and be very cognizant of how you make your bets and what books you make them on, so that you don't get limited. We got a Canadian cycle last week. Can we get a Muslim? Did we hit the Canadian cycle? Was it Mallet? Or I think I might have had Mallet sub and Zahabi decision. And it needed to be Mallet decision, because I had Croden KO in there. But did I put Jordan sub and Mallet decision? We might have hit the Canadian. Can we get a Muslim cycle? All right. Hakparast decision. Mirzakhanov KO and Umar submission. So Mirzakhanov by KO is plus 215. Umar Nurmagomedov by submission is plus 360. And then Nasrat Hakparast by decision at plus 195. That comes out to plus 4175. Mirzakhanov KO plus 215. Umar Nurmagomedov by submission plus 360. Nasrat Haqparast by decision. That is your Muslim Abu Dhabi cycle parlay, 41.75 to 1. Let's cash it. T.O. Phillips is cashing that. Inshallah, says my guy Gus. That actually sounds nice. I like it. I appreciate you guys. 334 of you hanging out live in here. Hit that thumbs up on your way out. Hit that subscribe if you haven't already. Leave me a comment down below. And please, for the love of Jah, at least click on that fucking link in the description of this video and pretend like you might even consider giving me some money so that you could at least look at Odds Shopper. What a phenomenal website they have. What great products that they're offering out there to people that gamble. Check it out, man. And come along with me for a month. $12.50. That's like nothing these days. So join up with me. Let's make some money together and get access to a bunch of information that nobody else really has. I have all the stats. I'm the guy. I'm the stats guy. Come to me. You don't just get the stats. You get the betting models. You get the fight write-ups. You get the track bets. You get the access to the Discord. And my guy, Robert Saladino, ring-a-ding-ding with the $2 donations. Love these AM cards. Weezy putting in the work. Thank you for supporting the show, Robert. Truly appreciate you. Thank you for supporting the Odds Shopper, Elijah Dream. And thank all of you guys for watching. God bless each and every one of you. And let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks on UFC 321. Have a great rest of your day. Have a great weekend. And we'll see you next week for an Apex card, which is going to be headlined by Steve Garcia and David Onamer. Should be a great main event there between two really exciting fighters and some really underrated fights that are going to be on next week's card. So we'll see you then when we talk again next week. Please consider clicking that link in the description of the video and supporting your Uncle Weezy's probability stats and content package. We'll talk to you guys later.